Hi, I wanted to take a moment and both encourage you and challenge you from 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 12 to 13. The Apostle Peter writes, "Friends, when life gets really difficult," sound familiar? "Don't jump to the conclusion that God isn't on the job. Instead, be glad you are in the very thick of what Christ experienced. This is the spiritual refining process with glory just around the corner." One of the reasons that I love David, the Old Testament king of Israel, is because of his vulnerability and his authenticity. When he goes through difficult times, he doesn't try to hide it. He grows through it. In fact, it's in his waiting to be delivered, that he grows as a musician and an artist, a leader, and a man. All those hours were not wasted in the wilderness, not wasted waiting. He emerges from those ready to embrace more. Without all David's tough times, think about it, his sorrows, his aloneness, his enemies pursuing him, his isolation, we would not have the Psalms, Psalms of thanksgiving and lament, Psalms of praise and worship. Every sorrow of David was another string on his harp. Every deliverance, another theme of praise. How much would we have missed if David had not gone through those trying and difficult times? His difficulty has become our comfort. God's people have found an expression for their grief and their praise in the Psalms of David. We are conformed, friends, as followers of Jesus, and transformed into the likeness of Jesus as we pass through difficult seasons and moments. And God has entrusted us with this present moment. Many of you lead families, workplace teams, student groups, even friendship and peer groups. I want to encourage you, look to Jesus in this season and demonstrate wisdom, courage, and compassion. Think about it. If we only have wisdom and courage and we lack compassion, we could be pretty careless because everything needs to be driven through love and compassion in a season like this. But if we have compassion and courage, but we don't have wisdom, we might have a lot of zeal, but you and I could be very reckless in this season. We need wisdom. But if we have wisdom and compassion, but not courage, we might not take risks in this season. But if we can hold wisdom, compassion, and courage together, we can find the sweet spot that Christians for centuries before us have found. It's important that we remember that Christians have faced moments like this, even worse than this. And it's in moments like this they made their reputation. May we be found faithful in this season. I read this quote this week in my devotional book that I've been following, and I wanted to leave you with this quote. It says this, "Then the faint hope of God's goodness blossomed into a song, rejoicing for his mighty deliverance and manifold mercies." Friends, if you'll listen, no matter what your present circumstances are, there is a faint hope growing. Look for it. Speak of it. For God's goodness will blossom and we will rejoice again because God has delivered us. Psalm chapter 3, one of David's Psalms, says this, "O Lord, you are my shield around me, and you bestow your glory on me. Lift up my head." How many need to hear that today? "To the Lord I cry aloud, and he answers me from the holy hill." And this is the verse I love. "I lie down and sleep. I wake up again because the Lord, he sustains me." May you see and experience God's sustaining power in your life as we journey through this season together. And friends, keep wisdom and courage and compassion right out front of you as we lead through this season and as we minister to others. Let's be the church. Let's let our light shine in the Greater Toronto area. Love you, church.